Welcome to Bahati, talking about real issues that are affecting you as an individual. Insights about financial and personal growth, plus better relationships. And now, Bahati.
It's a wonderful time of the year where we have a clean slate, where we have a fresh beginning, where we start with the Holy Spirit, we start with God, and then we get into the fight for what the year is going to unveil and what's going to bring. And for me, I don't think it's really a matter of fight, but the calling for us from God to be able to dominate the things that He has provided and put under our care. And shortly, we're going to be talking about that. But Father, in the name of Jesus, I come to you with everyone that is watching this episode. I believe that there is a new season. I believe that there is a calling, an exaltation, a lifting. I believe that there's a switch, there are changes, and there are things that are happening for our good. They are happening to us and for us for our good. And I know that some of us might not have started this year in a clear way, in a proper way, in the way we envision to start it, but the year has started anyway, and we have nothing to do about it but get in the flow and be able to move and do the things that you have ordained us to do. So whoever is watching, I cover them with your grace, with your blood, and I pray the strength to be able to dominate, to flourish, to thrive, to break even, to make it through, that the peace that surpasses human understanding will be their portion this year, that it will be a year of the miraculous, it will be a year of a different dimension, of different, so many achievements, an achievement after achievement, a year of the answered prayer, a year of God's favor in their lives, and a year where most of them are getting out of prisons that they were not supposed to be in the first place, that many of them are getting liberated, the freedom, the truth that sets them free, and that your word is going to be the lamp on their feet to guide them on every footstep. And everyone that will go through the shadow of death, they will say it like David said, that even though I go through the shadow of the valley of death, that I will fear no evil, for God is with me. This is a year where you're going to be with us more than ever, and a year where we're going to dominate, flourish, and thrive like never before. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I hope that you prayed that prayer with me, and I hope that you go to claim it. I hope that not just claim it, because it's not enough to claim it. God has given us so much power that than we can ever comprehend and understand. And when I got to connect and even just tap a little bit, I believe I'm not even a quarter way, I'm not even 10% into the power and the abilities and the potential and the competences that God has placed on my life. But slowly by slowly, God gets to unveil, God gets to open my eyes, and no one should ever lie to you. I believe age is not just a number. The higher I go in age, the clearer I can see the promises of God in my life, and the clearer I can understand that His promises are yes and amen in my life, and no one can ever change them. And He does not consult a human being in order to bless me or to lift me up or to do anything with me. And so I hope that you can be able to tap into that, because God has placed so much in your hands. And today I want us to talk about dominating our year, okay? 2024, I mean, so many promises have been spoken, so many prophecies have been spoken. You have thought about this year, and then some of us have never taken time. We have been in the hustle and the bustle of finishing the year, and some of us have even made prayers that are quite limited right at the age of 31st. That is where we burst out and we scream, and we have no plan, we have no strategy, because prayer also has strategy. You don't just pray. I know that our God is merciful and gracious, but sometimes we need to think, we need to organize, we need to be able, and yes, I know that He answers even when we are not strategic and organized, but sometimes we are too disorganized that you will just yell at the end of 31st while you're ushering in a new year, and I will ask you, what did you pray for? And you will not even remember what you prayed for. But just like I said, our God is a God of a second chance, and not just second chance does not mean 2 chances. Second chance can mean 1,000 chances, that we have a time to get it better. We have a time to rectify. We have a time to get back, to recollect ourselves and be able to get in the race. So I want us to talk about dominion, okay? One of the things that God has promised us is dominion. And for me, what a better way to even share this word with you while we talk about the beginning of the year, while you are setting your goals, while some of you have resolutions, some of you have to-do lists that you have created. Some of you have like endless, your journals, your apps, everything that you have been able to use to be able to put into perspective what 2024 means for you. One word for me that wraps up everything is I need to be able to dominate this year. God has given me the wisdom, and He's going to give me more wisdom, and He's going to bring people into my life, people that are going to help me accomplish that one task, to be able to dominate, okay? To dominate this year. Dominating is having a commanding influence, or having influence over something, and then having control over something. Having influence over something and having control over something. And I know some of you will expect that while I talk about dominion, I'm going to talk about so many things that you have to dominate over. Dominate over your finances, dominate over your marriage, dominate over your children, dominate over your work. No, I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to do that, because I have taken time to think. I have taken time to pray. I have taken time to research. I have taken time to listen to other people. I have taken time to listen to the prophecies. I have taken time to make sure that I do an addition of everything that has happening. And one thing that has stood so true to me is you are the common denominator for every year you have lived in this earth. So if you are 30 years old, for all the 30 years old, you have been the one common thing in every one of those 30 years. Because other situations have been quite fluid, have been quite repositioning and changing and, and fluctuating, okay? So the money has fluctuated, relationships have fluctuated, ministry has fluctuated, as in so many things have fluctuated. That means that some things are absent in one year and present in another year. Maybe there's a year you went through a lot of poverty, and then a year came when you were financially on a good trend. Maybe one year you were doing so poorly in relationships, and at the following year, everything changed. So you realize that so many things, that all the external things keep changing and fluctuating. That means if we need to have dominion over anything, there is only one place for us to start. And for me, that place is me. If I cannot dominate over myself, if I do not have dominion, if I do not have influence, if I do not have command, if I do not have control over me, then I do not have control over my finances, over my marriage, over my children, over my work, over my callings, over my ministry. I do not have control over anything if I do not have control over me. And I hope that you can think about it the same way. If you cannot control yourself, you cannot control anything else. If you cannot influence yourself, you cannot you cannot influence anyone else. We've all had this saying where someone says that, you're telling me I have a speck, but you have a log in your eye. How did you even see past your log? Can you be able to clean your eye before you even tell another person to clean their eye? Okay? Can I be able to trust myself? Can I be able to build myself? Can I be able to fortify myself? Can I be able to do do the things that I need to do, to rectify the things that are internal, that I will not look for external approval, external validation, that I will not have to look for any, because if I am centered, if I am rooted, if I am disciplined, if I am faithful, if I am honest, if I am that person that I have dominated over myself, or I have total control over myself, my goodness, nothing can fail me. Nothing. That is why this year, last year, I talked a lot about taking charge, or properly managing overwhelm, managing depression. I talked about all those things. Why? Because you realize that there is an internal battle inside of us, and some of us succumb to the internal battle that is inside of us, that is raging, a storm that is raging inside of us. And so many times we have lost battles. Why? Because we have lost right from the beginning. Because we are lost, nothing else can be found. Okay, so I need you to be able to look into that, and I want to be able to us to take our reading that is from Genesis. Chapter 1, right from the beginning. We are in the Genesis of this year, okay? So we might as well go back to Genesis. That is chapter 1, and that is verse 26, and says that, it says that, and God said, let us make man in our image, after our likeness. That means that during the creation, because this is really, I use this for Bible study mainly, and this was written by Jimmy Swaggart, the Expositor's Study Bible, and so it has the undermarkings that I usually love following. It says that the creation of man was preceded by a divine consultation, as well as pronouns like us and our proclaim the consultation held by three persons of the divine Trinity, who were in one creative work, the image and likeness, to enable us to fellowship with him and to have dominion. Okay, in our image and likeness actually refers to definitely being righteous, the holiness. And then it goes ahead at the reading, that is verse 26, and let them have dominion over the fish, over the sea, over the fowl, over of air, and over the cattle, over the earth, all the earth, and over every creeping thing that creeps upon the earth. Okay, so this dominion was given to us by God. It was given to man. Okay, and is always subject to God. And it says that, so God created man in his own image, and in the image of God created him, male and female created them, and God blessed them. And God said, be fruitful, multiply, and replenish the earth, and subdue it, and have dominion over the fish, over the sea, the fowl of the air, and over everything that moves upon the earth. And God said, behold, I have given you every herb bearing seed which is upon the face of the earth, and every tree, and in which which is the fruit of the tree yielding the seed to you, and shall be for meat. Okay, I will just stop that at that for now, because we're talking about dominion, and here you can clearly see that let them have dominion. When God created, when the Trinity did that creative work, they said, let us have dominion over everything on earth. And in 28 it says, and have dominion over everything. So that means dominion has been repeated multiple times. Okay, when he says that, go be fruitful, multiply, and replenish. And so dominion is something that is repeated when you talk about Genesis, because a human being, a man, a woman, was supposed to have dominion over everything. But you realize that even when we are supposed to have dominion over everything, you realize that a lot has gone so wrong in the world today, that we have moved away from a place of dominion, and now we have moved to a place of second guessing ourselves, doubting, and then doing things not in the best interest of what the earth would have been, but we have totally destroyed the world. And why have we destroyed the world? Because there's an imbalance, an internal imbalance in us. Okay, that we are killing the fish of the Because dominion does not mean go and kill. We are fishing the small tiny fish. We are actually using poison in the lakes. So that is not dominion. That is spoiling. Okay, so we are not dominating. We are not providing oversight. We are not being rulers. We are not being kings and queens. We are actually spoiling. But where does that come from? It's because some people grow so selfish. Some people grow so greedy. Some people, and that means the greed is inside. The selfishness is inside, the self-centeredness is inside, the egocentric tendencies, the big ego is inside that we need to massage. And so we have lost the power to dominate. And when you lose the power to dominate, you spoil. When you lose the power to dominate, you kill. When you lose the power to dominate, you seek to harm. When you lose the power to dominate, you don't have a clearer vision. You don't know exactly what you are supposed to do. Or you know exactly what you're supposed to do, but you don't have the power to actually do it because you've not been trained, you don't have the competences, you don't have the skill, and you just don't have the clarity of who you really are. Otherwise, if we had the clarity of who we really are, there are certain things that would not happen in our lives. Okay? So as we start this year, I just pray that you get back to the position, the original position that God created in, the position that was supposed to be a dominion kind of. Because look at this, when he says that to have dominion over all these things, to have dominion over air, to have the birds that fly, to have dominion over everything, one thing he's saying is, I have put them under your rulership, okay? And you can do anything, okay, to make sure that you not only survive but thrive in this earth. And the reason as to why so many of us are sinking and we are surviving and we are not thriving is because we have not known how exactly to dominate and where to actually dominate. Okay, so I don't want you to go out to start your 2024 with the same mentality. I need you to be able, when you listen to this, to be able to sit down and think clearly. What parts of my life must I dominate? Because we have been created to be in the likeness of God. So that means you have the power to create. You have the power to create stability inside of you. You have the power to create a renewed mindset. You have the power to create first with you before anything else, because everything else is going to be a manifestation of who you have become. And one thing I have realized is I have two versions of me, and all along I had not noticed this. But when I got frequent questions from my tribe of mentorship, from my coach, from the coaches in the coaching groups, from, accelerated mentorship, from the coach experience, from Hold My Hand, when I kept getting some of these questions, I realized that, we have a duality inside of us, and there is a higher version of us and a lower version of us. Now, the higher version of us is one that is sober, that wants things to happen the way they are supposed to happen. But guess what? The lower side of us mostly is usually more powerful than the higher side of us. So the lower side of us is the kind that gives in to imposter syndrome. Okay, so we can never start anything because we're like, I start a business, what will people say? Am I good enough? Am I? So we have the limiting beliefs, okay? The limiting beliefs is I don't have enough, I am not enough, and so we fail to create because we are coming from a place of nothingness, we are coming from a place of limiting beliefs, and whenever we have limiting beliefs, that means we have cut off the supply of what it means to be a creator. Just imagine if you had the limiting belief of, I don't have enough material to make soap. So you're not going to make soap. You're not going to create because you don't have enough. I don't have enough wisdom to do that. I don't have enough money to do that. I'm not good enough to get into a relationship. I'm not good enough to even sustain a marriage. I'm not good enough to be a parent. I'm not good enough to work in that organization. So you have failed yourself right from the beginning. And what has failed you? Not because those things are not available. Not because the job is not available. Not because money is not available. And I think I've said this so many times. If you cry because of poverty, cry alone, because people have money. People have money. Yesterday, we were driving back with I think it must have been OJ, and he was telling me about his in-law who has a project he's building, a personal house, a mansion of 5 billion. The project is 5 billion shillings. And he's building his own house to stay with his family. Now, while you're crying, the economy is going under. We are crashing, and things are so bad. My friend, there are people who have 5 projects of 5 billion creating personal houses just to sleep and chill. I know some of you are annoyed. You're like, how comes? How comes? Because when he actually went ahead to tell me how this person got to that. It was like the mother was a very careful mother. And so when this boy started working at a young age, at around 22, what the mother used to tell him is, bring that money, we buy land. Bring that, whatever money you get, my son, my son, my son, bring. So the mother was on his neck, and he would get all the money and give it to the mother. And it must have been figurative, but he told me this guy has a sack of land titles that some of the lands he even doesn't know. He doesn't remember where the lands are. So that means he began at a young age. And at a young age, the mother would buy land and plant trees. Buy land and do all sorts of things. That these things now are returning money to him. And he has a very good and posh job where he's working right now. And because I was asking him, how can he afford that? And he was telling me that this is what he has been doing since he was 21 years old. And he built his first house, which is also a mansion, at 26. So people have done certain things. People have achieved certain things. If we've not achieved certain things, it's not because we are weak. It's not because we are bad. We have not dominated over ourselves. And that is the promise that you and I are making to ourselves, that we are dominating over us. Because I have said, if you've just come in, that the common denominator, okay, we are the thing that is common in all the years that we have existed. So if you have 30 years, if you have 40 years, that means all the years have been fluctuating. The money, the relationships, the family, everything has been fluctuating, everything has been changing, everything has been oscillating. You are the only one that has been in those years, all those years, the 40 years. So that means you change everything. You change your finances, you change your family, you change everything as concerns you. Because if you do not change, the limiting beliefs are going to drive you crazy. I want you to just briefly look at your limiting beliefs. They are better than me. They have more money than me. They come from a rich family. I come from a poor family, from, I think, the poorest of the families. I'm not saying I have made it. I'm not saying I have arrived. No, I am still on my journey to be significant and more significant and more significant. But I will tell you, I am not where I used to be. And that I am forever grateful. But again, I will tell you, it has taken me to muscle up. It has taken me to dominate over myself. It has taken me to have dominion over what I think. And I think I have told you so many times that I have never in my life believed that something can stand in my way between me and what I want in life. Nothing. Not money, not as in nothing. I have believed I can achieve everything. That means I have dominated over myself for a long time. That now it's an automatic belief system that I believe I deserve everything good and I can go for everything good and that I can be audacious in everything that I do. The dreams that I dream, my friend, they are big. They scare me sometimes. But guess what? I have dreamt bigger dreams and bigger dreams and bigger dreams. And let me tell you, I have come to see everything come to pass, everything I have prayed for. And when you pray for something, that means you believe, you have faith that it can be given to you and that door is open and that you deserve to get into it and that you have the courage to walk through it. Okay, so I mean, I have never been disappointed. I have never been disappointed. I have seen every prayer being answered. I have seen every hard work being paid, okay, being compensated. I have seen. And so I am persuaded that nothing can stand between me and what God has planned for me and the good future that He has planned for me. What is standing in the way between you and the good future that God has planned for you? Is it possible that you are standing in your own way? Is it possible that your limiting beliefs are limiting you, not even to take a step to start a business, not even to take a step and create relationships and network, not even to take a step and ask for that job, not even to take a step and put yourself, okay, in places where chances can happen and things can happen? Not even to take yourself and say, you know what, I'm done with procrastinating. Let me be a doer. Let me do what I can right now with the available resources. What is standing in your way between what God has planned for you, the good future that God has planned for you, and where you are right now? Just take a moment, think about it, come back, let's finish this conversation.
Spirit TV, a place for you.
Did you know that you can acquire a skill in less than 3 months? Dynamic Media School skills you in TV and radio presenting, motion graphics, graphics designing, control room management, show production, audio production, confidence building, lighting and videography, personal branding, social media management, cinematography, video editing, marketing and sales, and effective communication. This is designed to provide practical skills and hands-on experience with the focus on developing critical thinking, research, and communication skills. You will have access to high-quality learning materials, including online lectures and other resources, as well as a dedicated team of facilitators and influencers who are available to assist you with any questions or concerns that you might have. Enroll today. Call 0702 021 834 or WhatsApp 0760 881 331. Dynamic Media School is an excellent choice for anyone looking to start or advance their career in this exciting and dynamic field. You don't get the life that you deserve, but that which you decide. It's time for you to decide to dominate your life. You don't do that by just having passion, you need a plan. Let's show you how you grow practically in character, competence, and in other areas of life. Welcome back to Bahati.
Okay, so I hope you're not so deep in thought, because our thoughts can wander, okay, wildly. Because now you're thinking, okay, I thought my mother had failed me, but all along it wasn't my mother. I thought my father had failed me, all along it wasn't. Let me tell you, I've told you, I come from the poorest of families, but I've never believed that my mother has ever, if anything, I believe that she has been a watchman on the gates of my success. I believe she has. She has held my hand with a little resources, with a little knowledge, without her ever seeing a blackboard, without her ever going to school. And I usually say, by the way, it's very possible, as in that woman with her intelligence, she could have become the first African president, the United States of Africa, not just Uganda, because her brain is bigger than that. But guess what? Even for her, she could have said that, you know what, I didn't go to school. I don't know this. I don't have work. I can't do anything. Let me just throw in a towel. Let me tell you, my mother, Christian Karijirgwa, what she did is, and I didn't think about it until I'm talking about now. I'm talking about it now. What she did, and she might never know what she did, but she took dominion over her life and said, over my dead body will my children will not die. They will not on my watch. My children will not drop out of school, not on my watch. Not because I didn't go to school, not because I don't know any word in English, not because I am not connected, I don't know anyone. I will do everything humanly possible to make sure that my family is sustained, to make sure that my children go to school, to make sure they have a shelter over their head, to make sure they have food on their plates. Even in the times where it failed, and she put water on a sigiri, and she made us worship. And my sister was like, but tunaria mazi, are we going to eat water? And she broke down, and she walked back to a shop where she had borrowed and borrowed and borrowed, and now they were not giving her anymore. And she cried and broke down. I remember the woman was called Senga in tebe, that is where you get it. And she broke down and she said, even if it's a quarter of maize flour so that my children can take porridge, I don't need sugar, I don't need anything. I have water, and I have gathered, it wasn't even a sigiri, I have gathered some small firewood in the middle of town. I have gathered small firewood behind the house where we are being accommodated by a certain uncle, and I have put on water. Please give me a quarter of maize flour so that my children can take porridge and sleep. Now, that is someone who takes dominion, not only for their lives, but takes dominion for their children's future. And says, you know what? Not on my watch. They are not going to wander. They are not going to die. Their future is going to be, as in, that woman has believed against belief. I believe I got the tirelessly believing and the never-ending, flourishing, positive beliefs from her. Because she never believed that things could fail. So I didn't have the privilege to even believe, or the luxury, because I was looking at a person that has made it out of nothing. And so I was like, if I've been handed this opportunity to even step at school, if I've been handed this opportunity, even if I've gone without shoes to school, even if I've gone hungry at school, even if she had to beg the principal so that I do exams and I would not even have reports, and yet I was one of the best performing students in school, if she had to go through all that, she has set a platform for me, and I am going to dominate over my future. And not just dominating over my future. Right now, what I am doing, I am dominating over my future. I am dominating over her life right now. She is living a happy life. And guess what? I am dominating over the generations that are coming ahead of me. Not on my watch. Even if they will live in a generation where I am not, they will have what? They will have YouTube, they will have all social media platforms, and they will have people telling them that your great-grandmother was a woman without wavering faith and belief in God, and number two, in themselves. And they dominated every waking hour of their lives, and they never left anything to chance. So this year, you do not leave anything to chance. A person that dominates is a person that is present. A person that dominates is a person that knows exactly what they want. It could be bigger, but they're not frightened. They're like, no one is going to tell me to edit my dreams. No one is going to tell me to edit my visions. If that is what I see, that is what I am going for. So if I'm aiming for the moon and I get the stars, hallelujah, praise the Lord. But if I get to the moon, amen, God has done it for me. Some of us are dreaming small, tiny, pathetic dreams. Even for 2024. You're saying, oh, at least I get into a relationship. It's possible you're not in one right now. You're as single can be. But it's very possible by the time we hit mid-year or by the time we end the year, you will be married and pregnant. It's very possible. I've ever prayed that prayer and God answered it. Okay, so I need you to dominate because creators dominate. You are created in the likeness of God, and God is a creator. So you are a creator. And if you are a creator, it's only creators that dominate. Okay, not imposters. Creators dominate. So I don't want you to have any ounce of limiting beliefs. And when God created you, he created a creator. When he was creating in our likeness, he was creating a creator. He was duplicating himself. He was extending himself because he knew he's not going to invent, he is not going to do aeroplanes. He's not going to assemble the boyas. He's not going to do the machinery, the heavy machinery that is, sustaining all the hydro plants and everything. So he gave you a creative brain so that you will create. And you can see that everything on this earth, including the houses, the cars, including the businesses, it's the creative power that God gave us. Otherwise, if he was a mean God, he would have said that, you know what, let me leave the creating power to me. I want these people to stay in a stone age for the longest time because I do not want them to be like me. My friend, God is a generous God. And that is why the Bible says that if you lack wisdom, go to God, who is generous to all, that he will give you the wisdom. And that is why you're watching this. That is why I am having this chat with you. And that is why I am this bold. That it's possible you can get anything you want out of life. The only thing is you have not tapped into your creative power. You have not tapped into dominion of your life, okay? So God created a creator, and only creators can have dominion, okay? And I said the only thing that all the years had in common was you. So dominate over you and dominate everything, okay? And some of us need a strategy, okay? Sometimes it's not even about the strength. It's not about, you know, no, it's not about being kanyama. It's not about bumping into things. It's not about, no, wisdom. Wisdom it brings calmness, but again, it creates powerful things, okay? So it's not about trying harder. So many times and so many years where I said, because I've failed so many times, and where I say, you know what, I need to write in a new journal, you know, I need to do to-do lists, you know, I need to do this, you know, I need to do this, and those things will be done and will be left in those journals, in those apps, and in those, whatever it is on the vision boards and everything else. If you do not have a strategy, it's not about strength, it's not about pushing through, it's not about, no. It's about having wisdom, having strategy in order to dominate, okay? So that means you need to change you, because the lower version that we talked about, the lower version of you, is the one that procrastinates, is the one that is beaten down by imposter syndrome. Okay? The higher version of me has always had big, okay? Has always had big, audacious goals. That is the higher version of me. The one that thinks, you know what? My house should be on an acre, should sit on an acre of land. The one that thinks that, you know what, I am going to influence the world one soul at a time, okay? And the one that says, I cannot work alone, I need to create an army of coaches that can go all over the world and be able to influence the world. Now, those are audacious dreams. When I was dreaming during COVID and saying that, you know what, yes, we can't have the in-person meetings, and I made a studio in my own bedroom, and I started, but the course, and people enrolled, and right now the community has grown. The tribe of coaches has grown. People that have a passion to go and change the world, to go and influence the world, to go and dominate in their spheres, in the marketplace, in ministries, and in every place that they are going to. That took a big audacious goal. That if I had timid goals, I would have said, oh, I want to be the only coach, and you know, I want all the money to come to me, and I want all the people to consult me. I have 24 hours. And these days, 24 hours are not even enough. I usually tell Coach Fiona that, you know what, I think God should have made a whole week to be just one day so that I can be able to finish. But you realize that even if God made the whole week one day, you would not finish up what you need to finish up. Okay? Because sometimes we get weak as humans. So I need you to have the big, the audacious. Something big is something that also threatens you. You look at it and you're like, okay, by the end of this year alone, I want to hit an income of this much, okay? So if I have a 9 to 5, what can I do to be able to supplement, to add on to the income that I have? I must be able to set my own goals. I should not let my boss set the goals for how much money I can make this year. That means you are taking power into your own hands and you're saying, I can dominate my year. I am not going to let my boss dominate my year. And if you are working with me and for me, you know I've said it so many times, that employment alone is not going to make you rich. It's not going to make you wealthy. So that means you must think outside the box. And that what we are telling you in a nutshell is take dominion, take charge, take control of your life. So if you think the 9 to 5, yes, it's very good. It's giving you a check every month. And so think outside the box and say, if I want to be able to make this kind of money and my job is giving me half of that money or quarter of that money, what else can I do in order to hit my goal? Now you have started. You have started. Because one thing that I found out that I needed so much in my life was the clarity of what I wanted in my life. So if when I got the clarity of this is the kind of money that I want, this is the kind of marriage that I want, this is the kind of happiness that I want, yes, and nothing, it's non-negotiable, non-negotiable. My happiness, non-negotiable. I'm very unapologetic about it. How much I earn, no one should be able to control that. I control that. And so many times I will tell you, for the past years, all in a row, I have exceeded my goals. By around June, July, I have already hit my goals. I'm home and dry. So that means whatever I am doing else is just, an extra mile. So it is achievable if you take control, if you dominate over your year, okay? So the battle is between the higher version of yourself and the lower version of yourself. So you do not let the lower version of yourself call the shots. Do not call the lower version of yourself call the shots. One thing that made me laugh recently, I went to buy a lipstick. I was actually sending someone to buy a lipstick, and then I saw the different names. For those of you that use Superstay, they have different names. They have the Explorer, they have the Ruler, they have the what. And I told them that, you know what, I like that name. I like the short collar. Give me the short collar. It's the one that I'm wearing right now. And for me, it just felt good to be the short collar, to be the one that is in the dominion seat of my life, that no one is going to be in the dominion. Some of us let heartbreaks, we let depression, we let the people that have hurt us, we let grudges take the dominion seat, and we drive backwards so many miles until we're like, you know what, this is not where we want to go, and you can't even change your life. One of the things that I did for myself in order to gain the clarity and to have the big, audacious goals, I had to invest in myself. I have to invest in myself, to take the courses. While everyone, in this generation, sometimes all you need is a blueprint of something. Sometimes you need is the wisdom that someone used to get to something or to do something. So I was like, you know what, I'm not going to sit back. I'm still looking for the knowledge. Whenever I see someone that is doing something that I want or something that is better, and that is something that is in line with my vision and my dreams, I make sure that I go for them. And there are meetings that have lined up, even as this year begins, the consultations. And guess what? When I call them, I tell them, you know what? How much is your 1 hour consultation? I do not call them to tell them, oh, give me free of charge. Even people that know me, I tell them, how much is your consultation? Even if I take you for coffee, I will give you your consultation. If you ask me for 400, 500,000, I will give you the 500,000, but I will sit with you and I will take the wisdom. I will drink from your cup of wisdom. Why? Because you have something that I don't want. How many of us, in order to have the dominion, you have to have the wisdom to know what you don't have and what you have, and to know what you need and who has it, so that you can go for it. How many of us this year are willing to do that? Some of you are high and mighty. Why? Because you have a certain number of following, because you have a certain number of crowd, because maybe you're a pastor somewhere, because you're a prophet somewhere. You will hurt me all you want, but let me tell you, some of you are so lacking in wisdom, and you have not even set the goals to even achieve the wisdom that you need and the knowledge that you need in order to go to the next level. You keep talking about the next level. You keep saying God is taking you to the next level. God is not going to just bring his hand and speak a big voice and just choose you from where you are and drop you to the next level. It doesn't happen like that. He needs someone that has been sharpened, someone that has been prepared for that season, someone that has committed to dominating over their lives, because he needs you to manage your time, he needs you to manage your skills, he needs you to manage your competence, he needs you to manage your relationships, he needs you to manage your finances. There are so many things to manage, and weaklings don't do that. They like it simple and swift, and to call shots even when they do not have the wisdom. Are you willing to go for it? The big, audacious goals require that you take an audit, an inventory check in your life to find out what you don't have, find out who has it, find out how you can get it, so you can be able to dominate over your year. Dominating is not an easy thing. That is why rulers have advisors. That is why we have presidential advisors. Why? Because they cannot rule on their own. They cannot depend on just their thoughts. Sometimes it's possible they will react emotionally, okay? Because they are humans. But when they have, just like the Bible says, that in the midst of counsel, the dreams flourish, kingdoms rise, countries rise. So when someone sits and says, you know what, we shouldn't take that action, or someone says, you know, let's look at it, let's give it one more week, you know, let's sleep on it, let's not make a hasty decision. Those are counselors, those are advisors. And so this person is able to feed from all this, and they're able to sieve it and make a sober decision about the situation. So they end up staying in dominion. Dominion over their lives, dominion over countries, dominion over kingdoms, dominion over so many things, companies, over, you know, workplaces. Okay, so don't let your lower version win. Never let your lower version win, because your lower version is the kind that is affected by imposter syndrome, is the kind that is addicted to approval from other people. So you never get to start until you have 100 different approvals from different people, okay? So make sure that you have a strategy so that your higher side of yourself is always controlling your lower side of yourself. The higher side that has big audacious dreams, the higher side that has positive beliefs, the higher side that knows that God's promises are yes and amen. The higher side that says that he who is in me is bigger than the one that is in the world, than the devil that is in the world. The higher side that says that he's the author and the finisher and the perfecter of my life, that I am the head and not the tail. The higher side that knows that chance happens to all of us. It's not the strong that get the food, and it's not the swift that run the race, but chance happens to all of us. That means that we are all at the same ground and we can be able to dominate, okay? The higher side that says that he fights our battles and we get the victory. The higher side that has fed itself on faith, okay? It has starved all the fear and fed the faith that it is possible. I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. That is the higher side. So I need you to have a strategy that your higher side will control the lower side. Because when you say, I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me, the imposter syndrome runs out of the window. And you're like, you know what? Even if I don't feel like I can literally do all things, but I am going to tap into the one that can do all things, and that is my God. And I will come and tackle the tasks that I thought I could not do. And let me tell you, I am going to do wonders, okay? I am going to be a doer. I'm not going to take a back seat. I'm not going to expect other people to do certain things for me. I am going to own my life. I am going to be the main character in this movie. I am not going to be an addition into my own set. No, I am going to be the main character. I'm going to be the last man standing, okay? So I need you to be able to have the strategy. Do you read the word? Do you pray? Do you have wise counsel around you? Do you have, there's so many things that you can do in order to fortify yourself, to grow. Personal growth is not automatic. No, it is manual. You intend, you press the button and say, I want to read. I want to sign up for courses. I want to get this knowledge. I want to consult. I want to be surrounded by wise people, okay? I want to be surrounded by sober people. I want to make wise decisions. And then you also admit that there are certain decisions that I've made that are not right. Have a strategy of personal growth. Have a strategy of dominion. Have a strategy to let the higher version of yourself dominate and control the lower version of yourself. Okay? That takes strategy. And I hope that we can be able to strategize. And sometimes you need to become the kind of person that dominates. You become the kind of person. So that means we are in a journey to become dominance. We are in the journey of becoming. It's a constant journey. It's a continuous journey to become the kind of person that dominates. Okay? When you start small and you get bigger and you get bigger and you get bigger until you have the big audacious dreams. Okay? So you become that person. And then you do what the people that dominate do. That is why we have so many successful people that we can look at. We have people that have gotten further than we are, that we can look at and say, you know what? This is about dominion, and I want to do what the people that are dominating, because there are people that you know are dominating their lives. There are people that don't take no for an answer. There are people that do not back down on their goals. There are people that, you know them. So, what are they doing that you're not doing? So now you decide and say, I am going to become that person that does the things that the people that dominate their lives are doing. Because that is going to make you to be fruitful, to multiply, and then to replenish or subdue or dominate over the world. That's what is going to happen. So get a clear picture about the highest version of yourself and the lowest version of yourself, okay? And sometimes, for me, I will still say this, that my highest version came out when my vision became bigger and bigger. I did not muscle up when I was still pursuing smaller dreams. When I started pursuing bigger dreams with fear and trembling. And that is why our slogan for the mentorship is, do it afraid. Because even when you are afraid, and you wait, what's good? What good is going to come out of waiting? Nothing. But if you're afraid and you go ahead and do it, you will learn one different way of not doing it, or one better way how to do it. Okay? So that means I need you to be able to increase in your dreams, to increase in the things that you want to achieve in your vision. Because then when you place a demand, that is why I'm saying have the big audacious dreams. When you place the demand and say, I want to make, by the end of the year, I want to make 200 million. You have placed a demand, okay? Now, the higher side of yourself is going to emerge because it has to protect this goal. So now you will start working harder. You will start, thinking, what else can I do? How fast can I run? Who else is doing what I'm doing? Who else is better than me? What kind of wisdom and knowledge do I need? Can I surround myself? Can I change my circle? What can I do? The highest version of yourself. Can I read the word? Can I pray? Can I believe the word, that everything that comes and has come out of the word of God, that it is yes and amen? Oh my goodness, the highest version of yourself will come out when you place a demand on it. So you place a demand on it by having bigger visions, by having higher visions, by having big, audacious dreams and goals. Okay? So do not settle for just kalito little. I don't like doing that. I like challenging myself, and so you should be able to challenge yourself this year and be able to dream bigger. And some of us are held back by fear, because we have been in a cycle of failure for so long, And so we are always afraid, I'm going to fail again. What if I fail again? What will they say? They will laugh at me. What if I lose it all? Let me tell you, people have lost it and started from scratch. People have been laughed at and they have risen again and started again. People have not given up on their lives. Some people, not all people, but some people. So I need you to be one of those people. The last failure should not stop you from starting again. The last failure should not stop you from dreaming again. The last cycle of failures, even if the failure have taken years and years around, and you have seen it in your family, you've seen it with your mothers, you've seen it with your siblings, you can say, I'm starting a new chapter. Starting today, I'm starting a new chapter. Do not say, the things in our families. That means you're letting them dominate your life. The curses in our families, you're letting the curses dominate. In our family, we never do this, or we never get married, or we never get money, or we never get rich. You are letting everything else dominate. What I'm talking about today is dominate. Take the dominion back into your hands. Take matters into your hands. Dream better. Be clear and pursue your dreams unapologetically. Do not ask for permission to pursue your dreams. Okay? So, if you want to influence the people in the world, dream. Dream big. Big, audacious goals, okay? And when you dream big, audacious goals, you get to a place, yes, you can try so many things, but one thing that has happened to me is, yes, I've tried retail business, I've tried doing IT, I have tried, you know, when you keep dreaming big, audacious goals, eventually you set in the area or in the field of favor, okay, where you don't have to do too much in order to break even. Why? Because you are in a place where you are content, you are in a place where you are passionate, you are in a place where it's the field of your calling, okay? Influencing people in the marketplace, that is me. Being an ambassador of God in the marketplace, in the corporate world, yeah, I mean, that is me. So I do it without any form of hindrances. So I need you to be able to act and to grow into your areas of favor or your fields of favor. Otherwise, let's dominate this year, okay? And dominating does not mean that, oh, when you get media and things are bad, you just throw in a towel. A person that is a dominant, you can see it in animals, a person that has dominion is a person that never backs down. Even when things get uglier at around August, they will still reclaim that year and still have dominion over that year. But more than anything, have dominion over yourself. Over yourself. So over to you. Check yourself, take inventory, and make an audit over your life. Okay? I love you. God bless you. Have a happy new year.